the violent criminal element that is destroying the city. But you know who they will magically have cops for? Anybody who defends themselves with lethal force against those rioters, right?
Yeah.
Then there will be cops because the people who shoot rioters have taxable incomes and fixed addresses. As far as I'm concerned, the Atlanta police are perpetrating entrapment on the people of Atlanta. They are saying we have put you in a position of danger, and we are going to not protect you. And if you try to protect yourself, we will arrest you. It is a Democrat-controlled city, but I repeat myself. I know at least one person who said, well, it's the South. In the South, there's a culture that you kind of have that shit coming, and so you don't need to worry. And even if you get arrested, you won't even be charged. First of all, that's not how it works for people with taxable incomes and fixed addresses. Being arrested, even for a week, will fuck you up forever. You shouldn't be arrested at all. It shouldn't even be a question. And the police will. Atlanta's majority-minority police force in a Democratic city will arrest you if you have somebody who's looting your store and was running away and you shot them. And the police will do this. And whites need to stop viewing cops. The left is right that whites view cops as an extension of themselves, as instruments of white supremacy or white nationalism or the white crusade for peace and quiet. And whites need to understand this is not the case. Police are a white passing minority that gets you into fights. They leave you holding the bag. And if you complain about it, they will say they are being oppressed. Police do not reflect your interests as a white person. They do not reflect your interests as a property owner. And those have been my thoughts this whole time on all of these.
I'm not going to just sit here and second whatever, like just go, oh, I agree with this or that. You already said that. Me just, joining in and hoorahing you doesn't add anything. So I'm going to take my voice. Well, I'm done with that. It's over. All right. I've had enough. I'm tired of being nice. I'm going apeshit. So I'm going to get onto a different topic that's unrelated to the police. Again, not because I don't care. Don't write to me and say, oh, you'll get mad about this. You don't get mad about the cops. We just talked about it. Marcel just said it. I don't really have anything to add that wouldn't just be redundant. So if we can get back to Wendy's martyr, there was a push to make this guy a new martyr and a new hero, and then the sort of dumb guy libertarian response is to again totally remove any agency from this individual and just he doesn't have any, he can't make decisions. It's just like, what is he supposed to do? The cops shouldn't have been bothering him. Yeah, the cops shouldn't have been bothering him. Sure, the cops shouldn't have escalated it. The cops shouldn't have arrested him. Whatever, fine.
Even to say they escalated it is an abuse of the word.
But yeah, like they escalated it in the sense that their being there is inherently an escalation because now there's a conflict before there was just one guy. In a private security world without clown policing, where there's something like a security force that, is paid for in a sensible, direct way by customers, do I think they would have killed this guy? Probably not, but I do think that something would have happened to him because Glenn Lowry was talking about this a lot lately. We get into these discussions about this stuff. This guy got killed by police. That guy got killed by police. Again, all tragedies, all wrong. Nobody should get killed, especially not by the state that they're forced to pay for. But at what point does somebody, point out that what do you think happens in life when you're out on parole and you say, I'm going to go get drunk and go for a drive, pass the fuck out in a parking lot, steal a cop's taser, and shoot him with it? Do you think you just get out of that with like a slap on the wrist, or they say, hey, nice shot, man, that was really impressive, you should join the force?
You really got me on the arm here.
Let's get this guy a badge. He's some good shit. There's got to be a point where if you respect your fellow man, you can talk to them like an adult, and you can say, yes, it was wrong to kill this guy. In this example, I mean, like you said, it's sort of like, what would take out the state and just say you're a normal person, and you are talking to someone who's in a parking lot, passed out drunk, and you're just investigating it. You go, hey, buddy, you okay, whatever, and you're talking to him, and then you go, well, we got to get you out of this parking lot. Obviously, what they did was different. They were going to arrest him. But the point is, you're talking to someone, he goes through, and at some point you get into a scuffle. even if it's your fault, even if you instigated the scuffle, that guy goes for your taser and shoots you with it. What do you do in that situation? Do you say, well, his life matters because blah, blah, blah. You just got shot at with a taser. I don't know what, again, from our perspective, I think it's very easy to just, like I said earlier with that, yes, of course it violates the zap.
It violates the zap.
I think it's very easy to just...
Zap, taser.
Oh, yeah. I think it's very easy to fall into this thing of like this lazy pattern of just like, well, the state shouldn't do that. The state's bad, blah, blah, blah. Sure, it is. They shouldn't, whatever. These situations are extremely rare, actually. When you add up the number of people killed by police every year, it's not that many people. It's a lot. Even one's too many. But like to act like this is an epidemic and to act like, oh, there's this narrative that now is going on like, oh, this is just another, he was sleeping while black. That's not what happened. Adding lies that stoke...
It stokes division.
That stoke division, thank you. And that's not what we're about here. We're not about that. We don't stoke division. Lies we're neutral on, but we don't stoke division.
Oh, that cop that shot Rashard Brooks, his mother lost her job. That's the other big thing. It's a threat, and it looms like a shadow over everything we've built. People have been losing their jobs left and right. Where it's like we're living in a.
It's like some sort of demented McCarthyism regime. The difference is that what Joe McCarthy did was he took a very sensible stance that people who are agents of a foreign power should not probably have positions in the government. That was his big crime for which McCarthyism is named, is that he said, people who work for Stalin probably should not be working on our atom bomb, etc. This is, your brother made a tweet that I don't like, so the idea that you're allowed to be a Walmart greeter is like offends my sensibilities and it can't happen.
It's Stalinism with American characteristics.
Which goes back to my point earlier about the blinking sign, reminding me of my 10 prime directives for the week. And when it comes to this Stalinization thing, someone asked me today about taking the black pill. The only good outcome I can see of this, or like silver lining, is that anything that can't go on forever won't. And I just don't see how this can go on forever.
It really can.
There's just too much every day. It's like I saw that story about Oregon with the masks. Lincoln County in Oregon issued a directive saying everyone must wear masks, basically at all times in public. And then it said, here are the exceptions to this. If you have a disability, that means you can't wear a mask, or a pre-existing medical condition that doesn't allow you to wear a mask. If you're a child under the age of 12, or if you are a minority. And to any normal person, they see that and they go, what are we doing here? Like, this is where we're at? These kinds of things are just coming so thick and fast every day that I just don't see how it lasts before everyone's like, all right, I'm not doing any of this stuff anymore. And they rip the mask off and they're like, I'm done with every day it's like 12 new things I have to do. I'm just done. Tucker is already almost there.
Here's another update from the Trump campaign. And I feel as though I got sidetracked because I was beginning to discuss this. So Donald Trump declared Antifa a terror group, which causes the left is running this really, it's an enraging gaslight by trying to tell us that Antifa isn't a
gaslighting's not real. That's not a thing.
That's not even a real play. I've never heard of it. Right. Antifa's not a real organization. It's an idea. Which one person, I in the circles I travel, one person finally had the best comparison. That's like saying, Hezbollah is not a group. The Party of Allah is really an idea. It's actually mentioned in the Quran. So you're a fool if you think there's any such group as Hezbollah. That's not a real thing. Or more appropriately, it's like saying the Crips are not a real gang because, who's the leader of the Crips, really? Anybody can wear blue. The Crips are just an idea that you ought to wear blue and shoot people wearing red and sell cocaine, right? That's not an actual organization, so you can't say that the Crips are a criminal gang, right? Because that's just inaccurate. Who's their leadership? Is there a Grand Council of Crips? I've never heard of them. Can you even name a single member of the Crips? I can't. Snoop Dogg, right?
Oh, you think the Crips are real? Name five. Name five.
Okay, if you think the Crips are real, name 3 right now. During the Holocaust, the Nazis had a system of classification for the people that were there. right? There were a series of upside down triangles of different colors. I mean, there was the tattoos, but on your uniform, so that you never need to ask, what are you in for? You looked at the person's triangle, and it was upside down, and it was pink for gays, right? We have a group called the Pink Pistols in the United States, and the logo of the Pink Pistols is a pink triangle with a person holding a gun pointing back at the viewer, right? The message could not be more clear. We are a group that we are appropriating this imagery. We were oppressed, and it's never again, right? And nobody
objects. What that is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I make a confession? I also thought that the Pink Pistols were a female group. I didn't realize they were an LGBT group.
Yeah, they're an LGBT thing. And by the way, so in these camps, if you were Jewish, a right side up triangle under your regular triangle, so it would be a Star of David. You see?
Yeah.
You imagine? Yeah. So there's one for gays. There was one for mentally disabled people, and then there was one for political dissidents, socialists, communists, subversives, etc. And that was a red triangle. Red for communism. So the upside down red triangle was what the Nazis used to designate communist subversives. Antifa, and just like the Pink Pistols, saw that and said, we will absolutely appropriate the fuck out of that. Yeah. Okay? The red triangle is an Antifa symbol. It is just as much as the three arrows pointed down to the left. The red triangle is. So Donald Trump puts out an ad, right? Puts out that ad begging you for money, and he has that triangle. And everybody says, did you know that Donald Trump put out a Facebook ad alluding to the Holocaust by having this Nazi concentration camp symbol? It's insane what people think happened. I talked to somebody about this. And what do you think occurred? And the way they said it was this. Here was Donald Trump's, or the Trump campaign's, master plan. Oh, Facebook took down the ad for being racist and threatening violence. They said, Donald Trump and his campaign, they picked this symbol. It's a reverse dog whistle. His supporters, who I acknowledge are all ignorant, inbred country rednecks who don't know anything about the Holocaust, they wouldn't recognize this dog whistle. It was a dog whistle to his enemies, not to his allies. Meanwhile, his enemies, who are in theory Antifa, would recognize it immediately and register it as a deadly threat. And so we would raise up a stink, and we are. And then conservatives will see us raising a stink about this, and then they will say, oh, that's just the left being crazy again. So he's doing this to discredit us, and we're going to do the thing that he was expecting us to do. And not only this, it emboldens the members of the far right, right? So the likes of Richard Spencer are going to take a break from complaining about Donald Trump not, shooting all these protesters. And Richard Spencer's going to say, damn, but did you see that Donald Trump put that red triangle on Facebook? I know he's still down with the cause. And this shows that leftists really fundamentally cannot think like right-wingers. I told him, I said, I couldn't propose a plan like the one you're suggesting in my dreams. I literally couldn't even imagine somebody sitting down at a Trump campaign thing and saying, listen, I have an idea for an ad. All right. So listen, you know how the Nazis had a classification system for their enemies during the Holocaust, right? So I'm thinking we use that and then it's over. The discussion's over. You just get fired from the campaign. What obviously happened was, some guy looked up Antifa logo and then looked for one that wasn't their actual flag, right? And so it's like, oh, red triangle, and he went with that. Is that not, unless you can think of something that's not insane that might have happened?
Yeah, that seems, it's a little more straightforward. That's sort of the other one, sort of a Rube Goldberg machine. It reminds me of, I think Tom DiLorenzo made this point, the idea of undercutting businesses to establish a monopoly. And the point was if I got up at a board meeting at some Fortune 500 company and said, I know what we'll do. We will sell our products at a loss. And then 5 years from now, all our competitors will be out of business because they can't compete with us. And then we'll jack up our prices. They'd be fired.
Yeah.
even though this is supposedly like according to people who are against